Hello, everyone. Welcome to Illuminating Astrology. In this video, I want to focus on some of the Horary techniques, which I find very useful, interesting. They're not commonly talked about, and also they're helpful for healing. Many of you have requested that I keep recording the Horary videos or discuss Horary videos, and this is one of the areas where Horary can really be used to not only help a person or illuminate something, but to promote healing. The reason I even decided to focus on the topic is one of my friends requested for me to help her to look at her fear. She felt great anxiety, great fear of mind, and she really couldn't pinpoint it. She couldn't figure out what causes this anxiety. And so I cast a chart when I was talking to her and when she was sharing it with me. And the question was in the moment, what causes my fear? So let's take a look at this chart and see what principles of traditional astrology can illuminate the secret thoughts or secret matters that operate in a person's mind and how that can be used for healing. This is the chart I cast when I was talking to her, and this is a consultation chart, and it's also a Horary chart because she asked me a question. As always, it's important in Horary to assign our players. Horary, unlike natal astrology, is very much focused on the concrete planets and the signs and the houses. And so here, the person who is asking the question and always is assigned to the first house. And my friend is represented by Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius, in Gemini retrograde in the seventh house. The position of the ruler immediately tells us what is the focus of her thoughts or her energy. It is about primary relationship. And because Jupiter is in debility and retrograding, she goes back and forth in her mind, feeling certain discomfort, certain doubts about her primary relationship. But that information was in her conscious awareness. She was sharing it openly. She was thinking about it. However, her question was more what's causing an anxiety? What's causing this difficulty? We should, of course, look at the moon. The moon we find in the 12th house in Scorpio. This suggests a certain emotional anguish, suffering, that she's not feeling well mentally and physically. And because the moon is in Scorpio, that she has highs and lows, ups and downs in her emotional states. She may feel hopeful and more positive one day, but feels completely down, and falls into the abyss another day. The moon in Scorpio brings those fluctuations. So the chart appears to be very radical, meaning it describes her situation well. She is suffering, she is focused on the primary relationship. However, she wishes to know what causes this fear, this panic, and she doesn't really know it in her conscious mind. In order to determine her secret thoughts, we have a few approaches. The first and most obvious would be to find the dispositor of the moon. The dispositor of the moon is Mars, and we find Mars in the eighth house. More so, the moon and Mars are in mutual reception. So there is great connection between how she feels and Mars. Mars, of course, represents also the fourth house in this chart. So it is about her home, about her family on the one hand. It is also in the eighth house, which is joint resources of her partner. So that's another thing. And eighth house is also associated with fears and anxieties and death. So we can anticipate that some of the fears may be related to finances, especially shared finances, to the death and dying, because it's the eighth house, and some concerns about the place of living and family. And in addition, Mars also rules the 12th and the 11th house. It turned out in a conversation that she was also concerned about the friends because her friends, for different reasons, were less available to her. And so, in combination, it felt like she didn't have something to rely on, and that was causing her some worry and an anxiety. That's one way of looking at it. So, it was about the money, fear of death and dying, and about connection with friends and stability. But another way, with this, from the traditional point of view, would be to look at the part of fortune. We find part of fortune in the first house in Sagittarius. So, part of fortune, as representative secret thoughts of a person, suggest it is about her, and Sagittarius is about freedom. She wished to be free. She wished to do things the way she wants. She wanted to be unlimited. She wanted to explore new things, to grow. But it was somewhat difficult because of her energy was focused on a relationship with her partner, and they had some difficulties at the time. So the last way of looking at the secret intention and thoughts is to look at the 12 part, so-called dodekatamori, the 12 part in Greek. And that is a breaking of each sign of the zodiac into 12 parts, 2.5 degrees each. So if we, for example, take the moon in Scorpio, 24 degrees of Scorpio falls into the 12th part of Leo. In that case, we look at the Leo in the chart, we find it in the ninth house, and we find the ruler of Sun is in the 11th. So again, it relates maybe to her beliefs or looking for some kind of meaning in her experiences, but also very much connects with her friends. So her worries, her fears were based on relationship with the husband, worries about the money, worries about home, and certain worries about friends. So when it was pointed out to her, it became a bit easier and she recognized some of those fears. And then the first step in healing is recognition, awareness. This is what astrology allows us to do. But what happened in the next few weeks and months, she got better physically. She worked it out in her relationship with her husband, and she had more financial security. And because she also improved both physically and mentally, she stopped being so afraid. And so that's how the chart helped both to illuminate and then eventually, with her efforts and the circumstances, she got better. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have you ever tried to read the thoughts of a person? Have you ever used the consultation charts? Because I find those charts very fascinating. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button or like or comment to allow my channel to grow. Your support is very much appreciated, and stay tuned for more.